Jai Shri Ram. The question I asked is caste a closed social group? Don't Vedas and Manu deny this? The answer is very interesting. In modern sociology, caste is often defined as a closed social group because membership is determined strictly by birth and mobility between groups is generally restricted. However, your point about the Vedas and Manusmriti highlights a significant distinction between the modern caste, Jati, and the original Varna system. Now remember the word jati has become interchangeable. Jati, kula are being used as synonyms of caste. And also the word caste doesn't occur anywhere in any Hindu scripture, let alone Vedas. Caste is a Portuguese word which means class. And the truth is, every society is divided into classes based on many factors: intellectual class, the intellectual elite, socio-economic classes, cultural class. So all kinds of classes are natural. Even in nature you will find it. Now let us see what AI is saying. Varna versus Jati. The key distinction. Vedic Varna, broad categories: Brahmin, intellectual; Kshatriya, warrior; Vaishya, merchant; and Shudra, service providers. So Shudra is a service provider. Okay, nothing wrong with that. In fact, many Brahmins are also Shudras because they have become service providers. Chalo, Jati, modern caste. Thousands of localized hereditary and endogamous groups. Okay, birth versus merit. While Jati is traditionally birth based, many scholars argue that the original Varna system described in the Vedas was meant to be a meritocracy. Varna is a meritocracy based on guna and karma. Refer to Bhagavad Gita 4:13, 4th chapter, 13th verse. Yeah? Chaturvanyam maya srushtam gunakarma vibhagashaha, Krishna declares. Vedic perspective. Vedas are often cited as being inclusive rather than restrictive. Purusha Sukta, four Varnas as parts of a single cosmic body. Right? It is a functional metaphor for social interdependence, a functional metaphor for social interdependence rather than a hierarchy of superiority. Please memorize that sentence. Rigveda 560.5. No one is superior or inferior. In fact, Ambedkar was very fond of repeatedly quoting Vedas as saying, Shrunvantu Vishwe Amrutasya Putraha Aye Dhamani Divyani Tastu. Amrutasya Putra. The Veda addresses all mankind as Amrutasya Putra. So nobody is inferior. And Yajurveda 26.2. Vedic knowledge is a gift meant for all, including Shudras, and not teaching them is Papam. Let's continue. Perspectives. This Yajurveda 26.2, Yadhemam Vacham Kalyani Mavadhani Janayabhyaha Shudra Rajan Brahmana Rajanyabhyam Shudraya Chayacha Charanayacha. So in the entire mantra, I just remember a part of the mantra. It says Vedas, the Ved, in fact it's not Vedas, it is Ved. The Ved has to be taught to everyone. Yajurveda 26.2 is saying Ved has to be taught to everyone. Not teaching the Ved is sin or papam. I don't like to use the word sin because it's a stupid Christian word. Sin is the act of disobedience of Adam and Eve. In fact, Adam and Eve went ahead and ate that fruit of a tree of knowledge. Some Christians are thinking it's an apple. I think it's a watermelon. Anyway, nevertheless, this great omniscient God did not know that Adam and Eve are likely to disobey. So, what kind of omniscience is that? Plus, Adam was a good boy. Only after Eve came along, Eve was a product made from the rib of Adam. And only after Eve came along did Adam. So, Eve came along. Eve is a product of the rib of Adam. That means Eve is a non-entity. So this is how Abrahamic cults, both Christianity and Islam, consider women as a very inferior product. Anyway, and she is also credited with having corrupted Adam's mind. Adam was a good boy. He didn't eat that fruit of the tree of knowledge. I fully recommend we should always eat the fruits of the trees of knowledge. But anyway, Adam was a good boy. He did not eat. But after Eve came, she was enticed by Satan, who came in the form of a serpent, and he told Eve, see, nobody is looking, you can go ahead and have it. Eve tempted Adam, and that fellow ate the apple. You see, the Apple company has the Apple logo with a part bitten off. Steve Jobs was actually conveying the message that with the act of eating that apple, the fruit of knowledge, all development began. So that was Steve Jobs' parting kick to this what you call bigotry and meaningless orthodoxy. Yeah. So fanaticism. So this is the whole story. Obviously, the story is written by a male. If the story had been written by a female, there would have been a great goddess. She would have created a female, and then the female would have said, I want a beau, B-E-A-U, that means a boyfriend. And maybe the female would have parted with a nail, fingernail. Man would have come. The man would have tempted, and then the fall of man, sin, disobedience. Because of sin, God got angry and kicked them out of paradise. And these fellows are now trying to get back to paradise. And to get back to paradise, after dying, they have to be buried, so that on the D-Day, day of judgment, apocalypse, and Armageddon, God will try to, God will infuse life into them, and they have to be brought back into life from the graves. They will all rise from their graves. Imagine the situation. And I believe the Atma, the soul. Now remember, there is a difference between the word soul and Atma. Soul, according to Christianity and Islam, resides only in humans, whereas in Hinduism we believe that even stones have souls. Okay, trees, animals, all of them. That's why Hinduism don't eat meat. You could be eating your own relative. But we have got influenced by these two desert cults, and we are eating everything now, including beef. You can see Kerala. Okay, so So I'm sure if you have been listening to my talks, you would have realized that I'm repeating this point, hoping that those who haven't heard the earlier ones may at least understand this much. This is called Purva Paksha, due diligence, thorough investigation of the opponent. Remember, Abrahamic cults are very aggressive, predatory. Their holy books clearly say the infidel is called heathen, pagan, gentile in the Bible, kafir, kuffar is the plural. These both holy books are very clear. You have to either convert the infidel, unbeliever, or kill him. That's very clear, and not in one place it is repeatedly said. But many foolish idiots, they are trying to tell us that no, all religions are equal. This is not true, right? There's only one dharma, that is Sanatan dharma. These are not dharma, they are mazhab. They are simply an opinion, right? And totally adharmic. So my point is very clear. I don't have any hatred or contempt. See, do you have any hatred for a scorpion or a deadly viper? No. We want to stay away from that. We don't want the viper to come and come into our house, right? That's the kind of feeling I have. So my job is to make sure that every Hindu child, grown-ups, unfortunately they have become so secularized. Decolonizing their minds is almost impossible now, because it has calcified. It is a carapace. The carapace of secularism has got so indurated that it's difficult to break. Anyway, so Yajurveda 26.2 is very clear, which says the Veda should be taught to everyone. Not teaching is papa. Okay. Now let us look at perspectives in Manusmriti. See, AI is doing a great job, but I don't know how many people are actually doing research in AI to know the truth. Manu, what does he say? Manu asserts that a Brahmin can become a Shudra and vice versa based on their conduct and education. But nobody is talking about that. Ambedkar burnt Manusmriti publicly. I fully support that idea. We must burn many Manusmritis, because actually 60 Manusmritis or more are available in the market, which are fully interpolated by these Christian apologists, Islamic apologists, and the British Marxists and British Indologists. They have tried to undermine, uproot the roots of Sanatan Dharma. Manu is actually the forefather, ancestor of Sri Rama, right? And Manusmriti is actually applicable to Treta Yugam, or Krita Yugam. For the Kali Yugam, it is Parashara Smriti. So Manu, yes, Manu in the Shuddha Manu Smriti it is there. Some very strong verses are there, but it is they are taking what you call that selective outrage, right? Cherry picking. That's what the pastor will do. Cherry picking. The mullah will do cherry picking. That means he will select some nice looking verses, but they will ignore the vast majority of the verses which are extremely full of lechery, butchery, treachery, and bigotry, right? So, Manu, I do agree. Some debatable statements are there, but they don't belong to this current yuga. And by the way, Manu Smriti was never practiced as law, never passed as law, right? So there are all these things are there, and now see what is Manu saying? Mobility is possible. A Brahmin will become a Shudra, and a Shudra can ascend to the status of a Brahmin. Twice born concept. Uh, Everyone is born a Shudra, attains second birth only through education and discipline, and education has to be given to everyone. Yajurveda 26.2. Janmana jayate Shudra, samskara dvija uchyate, Veda pathed bhaved vipraha, Brahmajnane tu brahmanaha. Punishment. Manu advises stricter punishments for higher varnas. For theft, a Brahmin will be fined much more heavily than Shudra, because Brahmins are expected to know better. There are stories in the Mahabharata also where Duryodhana and Yudhishthira, before being coronated, the people propose a test. And so the test was four criminals are brought into a court, and Duryodhana is asked what to do. And all of them, I believe, committed murder. So Duryodhana says all should be hanged, the matter is over. And Dhritarashtra seems very happy that he gave a wonderful judgment. Right? So, next Dharmaraja is asked, Yudhishthira. Yudhishthira inquires what is the kulam. And some left liberals were there, left liberals. Where is they started shouting, what is the point in asking about kulam? They have all committed murder. Yudhishthira says, no, I want to know. So finally, the situation is that the four of them, one is a Brahmin, one Kshatriya, one Vaishya, and one Shudra. So the punishment Yudhishthira gives based on all the details of the case after examining everything. You see, Duryodhana was so casual, nonchalant. A judge cannot be like that. That will be dumb. That will be like, I don't want to name them again. You see, the Abrahamic cult desert law. Yeah? So, Yudhishthira gives a very light punishment to the Shudra, slightly heavier to Vaishya, and more heavier to the Kshatriya. And Brahmin, actually, Manu says you cannot kill a Brahmin. Brahmahatya is a ghoramaina patakam, big papam. Don't use the word sin, use the word papam or patakam. So, he says the Brahmin has to be shaved, his face has to be blackened, he should be mounted on a donkey, and taken around the whole city so that people come to know that this rascal has done this heinous crime, and he should be kicked out of the country. And if there is any more punishment, you ask Vidura for it. That is the ultimate ignominy. So, you please understand, being spat upon by the whole society, and if your reputation is destroyed, that is worse than death. That's what Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita also. This is Yudhishthira, that's why he is Dharmaraja. Contradictions. Conversely, the text also contains many verses that establish rigid duties and restrict intervarna marriages to maintain social order, which critics like Dr. Ambedkar pointed out as the foundation of modern caste rigidity. Okay. Modern caste rigidity, well, to a certain extent, today it is rigid. I don't deny that. But the relevance of this rigidity has disappeared completely. You see, today it's a meritocracy. You cannot get a job on the basis of your, kulam or caste, if you want to call it, isn't it? So, privatization, globalization is the best enemy of caste rigidity. Okay. Historical mobility, let's see. Vishwamitra, Kshatriya, became Brahma Rishi. Satyakama, Jahabala, and Kavasha, Ailusha, the example is not mentioned here. Kavasha, Ailusha. There are many Shudra Rishis in the Vedas. Vidura, born to a Dasi, and he was actually an avatar of Dharma, Dharma Deva. Okay. Would you like to explore how the British Raj or medieval periods influenced the transition from fluid varnas to rigid jatis? Yes, obviously. The British divide and rule, these bloody Malechas, these rascals called Mughals, and all the Malecha kings, Muslims, jihadis, Tipu Sultan, and so many jihadi scoundrels were there. They did everything possible to exploit the flaw. What do you call that? The fault lines in Hindu society. uh, I hope you enjoyed the small discussion, and I will pick up again. Jai Shri Ram.